بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا شهيد يا غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. إن كان عندك عبرة تجريها فانزل بأرض الطف كي نسقيها، فعسى أن نبل بها مضاجع صفوة ما بلت الأكباد من جاريها. ولقد مررت على منازل عترة هي ثقل النبوة كان ألقي فيها، وذكرت إذ وقفت عقيلة حيدر هي مذهولة تصغي لصوت أخي، بأبي التي ورثت مصائب أمها فغدت تقابلها بصبر أبي. هذه نساؤك من يكون إذا سرت في الأسر سائقها، ومن حاديها يسوقها زجر بضرب متونها، والشمر يحدوها بسب أبيها. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. نوروا مجالسكم بذكر الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It truly is an honor to be a Muslim, to be a follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. It is an honor that we follow in the footsteps of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. These beautiful role models that Allah gave us. It is an honor that we have the Quran as a book of guidance for us. We all see it as such an honor that Allah guided us to this beautiful religion, and we thank Him. I'm sure most of us or all of us here, we didn't have to go and search for this religion. We were born as Muslims. It came to us. And thus we have to thank Allah Azza wa Jal. But unfortunately, not everyone sees Islam in this way. Unfortunately, in the West, when you come to the West today, they have such a pessimistic, negative view of Islam. They see it as a backwards religion, uncivilized religion, a religion of terrorism, a religion of killing and violence. And that's why most people in the West, they have unfavorable views of Islam. They don't see Islam in a positive way. They hate the religion of Islam. And if you just read the statistics about it, you see that out of all the religions, Islam has the worst reputation in the West. And that's why tonight I want to speak about some of the reasons behind this, and I will mention one thing we can do about this and one story. Now, many people, when they see all of this negative, all these anti-Muslim sentiments in the West, they begin to lose hope and despair. And they say, you know what? These Westerners are our enemies because they hate Islam and we have to hate them back. And there is no way for us to convince them otherwise. They hate us and they hate Islam because they are evil people. I disagree with that, my friends. I truly believe that most people in the West are good people. Most of them are genuinely good people. And they have good, clean hearts, pure hearts. And you can see it through their akhlaq. They have beautiful akhlaq. The akhlaq, the manners, the characters of non-Muslims today is much better than Muslims. When you go to the Muslim countries, you don't find the morals and the values of Islam, of honesty and respect and treating everyone fairly. You find that in the Western countries. So I truly disagree. I think that no, many of these Westerners, non-Muslims, whether here in Australia or in America or Europe or Canada, most of them are good people. So what's the problem? Why do they hate Islam? I believe it is because of their ignorance towards Islam. 2 points that I'll mention. Number one, it's their ignorance. They don't really know much about Islam. There is so much ignorance about Islam. And I always mention this, I mentioned it in Sydney last week, that one of the U.S. Muslim associations in America called CARE, they did a survey one day to understand and see which religion, how much people know about Islam. Not the non-Muslims, the American people. How much do they know about Islam? They did a study, a survey, and they found out that 60% of American public, they don't know anything about Islam. When they were asked, what do you know about Islam? What do Muslims believe in? What's their practice? They are clueless about Islam. And I'm sure the Australian, the Aussies, same thing. Some of them who live in the cities, the big cities, maybe it's a little better. But most of them, especially the ones that live in the smaller towns and villages, they are clueless about Islam. They don't know anything about Islam. Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. And that's why, I've heard this from many scholars, that when they attend certain churches or universities to speak about Islam all over the West, they usually have a Q&A session. They ask them about those controversial Muslim questions. But the most common question that they ask a Muslim leader when they have is this. And this shows you how lost they are, how ignorant they are of Islam. They don't know anything about Islam. The most common question that they will ask you that's on their head, what is the difference between Islam and Muslims? Are these two religions or one religion? Many of them, they don't know. That's how lost they are. They don't know the difference between Islam and Muslim. They think Islam is one religion and Muslim is another religion. Is there a correlation between them? So such a simple differentiation between Islam and Muslims, most of them, they don't know what it is. Most of them don't know exactly our Prophet. What is his role? Is he your Prophet? Does he have to do with Islam? Is he your God? Do you worship him? Is he like Jesus? He is the Son of God. They don't know anything about that. So there is a lot of ignorance when it comes to understanding the religion of Islam. And ignorance, usually when there is ignorance towards a topic, towards a subject, it creates room for misconceptions. When you are ignorant of something, you begin to build misconceptions. You believe rumors. You begin to take information from any source because there is no source of knowledge towards that subject. So ignorance creates misconceptions. And misconceptions, sometimes they escalate and you begin to fear the unknown. Many times we fear the unknown. And that's why Imam Ali alayhi salam says, "An-nasu a'da ma jahilu." Human beings, they are enemies of the unknown. That which they don't know, they fear it. They have misconceptions about it. They don't have the adequate and proper knowledge towards that topic and subject. And that's why you find, for example, many non-Muslims believe Islam or Muslims oppress women. Why? Leave Muslims. Islam oppresses women. Why? They will tell you that the biggest proof to this fact that Islam oppresses women is hijab. Why is hijab oppression? And you see this, for example, very evident in France. There was the hijab ban, the burkini ban. Even their president, Sarkozy, he came out and he said the hijab or the niqab, this is a form of debasement for the woman, humiliation, degrading herself. Why? Because they think that it's the husband that enforces the hijab on the wife, or it's the father that enforces the hijab on the. So they think that these poor women, they would want to not wear hijab, but it's the husband that forces her to wear hijab just because he has that ghira, because he's jealous about her, or because he wants to show her that I'm the boss in the family. As a sign of authority and dominance over her, he tells her, wear the hijab. Of course, if this was the reason, this is dhulm, this is oppression. We're considering them like slaves. But what they fail in realizing is this is wrong, this is a misconception. She wears the hijab out of her devotion to Allah, because Allah has her, has nothing to do with her husband. Whether she is married or not, has nothing to do with it. So there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of ignorance. And the reason behind all of this ignorance, my friends, is it's our fault. Because we don't market Islam. We don't advertise Islam. We don't take the time to tell non-Muslims about this beautiful religion. And you know, in the West, it's all about what? It's all about marketing, isn't it? It's all about marketing and advertisement. Just look at all the advertisements that exist everywhere you see, on the freeways, on the billboards, on the internet, on the magazines, newspapers, TV. It's all about ads, and marketing. And what marketing shows, if you're in the world of business, you know this, that if you have the best product, but you don't market it, no one will buy it. No one will buy it. If you have a store somewhere in a storage, you have to market it. And if you have the worst product, but you market it good, everyone will buy it. Take the worst product and market it, spend money on marketing it, everyone will buy it. Just look at the tobacco industry. Everybody knows smoking is harmful, it kills, correct? And it causes lung cancer, and it's so expensive nowadays, isn't it? A pack here in Australia, they told me it goes up to $30, isn't it? For one pack. In the Middle East, you could buy 50 packs with $30. But yeah, you see people smoking here. He's willing to pay $30 to kill his lungs. Why? What's the reason? Now, of course, there is an addiction, but why does he try it for the first time? You don't get this for free, my friends. It's because the tobacco industry spends billions of dollars on what? Marketing, advertisement. I read once that they spend $10 billion a year. 10 billion. Now, obviously, you have people that go and smoke and buy it, and they think it's so cool and it's whatever. So, market poison, people will buy it. But market it in a beautiful way. Alcohol. You see, alcohol is also poison. Only evil comes from it. Just read about how many people die from drunk driving here in Australia and America and Canada and all the Western countries. But yet, this poison that intoxicates you, that makes you do so many stupid things that you will regret later, because it is advertised in such a beautiful way. Everywhere you see their commercials. On TV, you're checking your mail and they have a commercial on. You're checking, for example, your app, the Facebook and the Instagram, they have a commercial there. On the freeways, you see it. On everywhere, you see it. So they spend billions of dollars so that you go and you buy this poison that's also bad for you. You're spending money on it. Islam is the most beautiful religion. It's the religion of mercy, the religion of science, the religion of logic. But unfortunately, nobody markets it. How is the Westerner supposed to know that? We only mention it amongst ourselves. We come to the masjid and we speak about how beautiful Islam is. Here, inside these four walls, you know that. Because I'm telling you that, because you've done some research. But beyond these four walls, nobody is hearing these words. That Islam is the religion of mercy, it's the religion of... If they were to hear these words, they would believe. This is what Imam al-Rida says. He says, فَإِنَّ النَّاسِ لَوْ عَرِفُوا مَحَاسِنَ كَلَامِنَا لَاتَّبَعُونَا. He says, if people hear the Islam of Ahlul Bayt, not the Islam of Bani Umayyah and Wahhabis, the Islam of Ahlul Bayt, if it reaches anyone, who is not someone evil, who has a good heart, he will believe because it's too powerful. It's too powerful. And that's why, ironically, you find in the US, for example, in America, Islam is the most hated religion. Most people, they have negative views. And at the same time, look at how ironic this is. And at the same time, it is the fastest growing religion. I read once that every single year, more than 25,000 people convert to Islam. And this was way back. I probably read the statistics 7, 8 years ago. Maybe now it's double. It's the fastest growing religion, but it's the most hated. What does this show you? That there's a barrier. They don't hate Islam because they hate Islam because they don't know anything about it, because there's propaganda, and I'll get to it. But as soon as the words of Ahlul Bayt, the words of the Quran reach them, they say, oh wow, this is Islam. I never knew. They believe. So as long as the enemy knows, as long as the words of Ahlul Bayt doesn't reach people, people will hate Islam. They won't believe. But once the word reaches, there's no one and nothing that can stop that person from believing. So I truly believe that the problem is within us. We have not taken the time to market Islam to the world, to non-Muslims. So this is the first problem that we have. Or else, Westerners are not evil people. They don't hate Islam genuinely. So this is the first problem. The second problem is because we have not come to the forefront to market Islam, there is a void, a vacuum that we have left. People want to know about Islam. How do they learn about Islam? There are others who have come and they have filled this void, unfortunately, with propaganda. We have certain enemies that spread propaganda, false information about Islam. And there are the extremists, the Wahhabis, who have come and they have become the spokesman of Islam, correct? When I, a follower of Ahlul Bayt, when I don't market Islam, who's going to market Islam on my behalf? The Wahhabi with the long beard. You see them, mashallah, they do so much da'wah. They have satellite channels, they spend on da'wah, they have people going to even people's houses, their masajid are huge, mashallah. He's the one that's doing da'wah and inviting people to the faith. The Wahhabi, he becomes my spokesman. And ISIS becomes my spokesman because there's a void. There has to be someone that's speaking on behalf of Islam. Me, who is a follower of Ahlul Bayt, I'm quiet. I'm busy with my business, with my job, with my family, with my fun, with my entertainment. So there's going to be a void, a vacuum. Who's going to fill that vacuum? The extremists. If not the extremists, our enemies, those people, that the Zionists, for example, that want to destroy the image of Islam. Correct? You see these propaganda news channels that you have sometimes. Or the anti-Muslim, like you have here. What's her name? That lady? Pauline Hanson. People like that. They're going to speak for Islam. And you have it in the US, you have, for example, Fox News channel, you have CNN, all these channels that they are teaching people about Islam. SubhanAllah. Most people in the US, their knowledge about Islam is from Fox News because they have no other source. And they believe all the nonsense Fox News tells them. If you watch it sometimes, they have a show from time to time, or I don't know, maybe it's every day. It's called Radical Islam in the US. And it's always instilling fear in the people's hearts. Be careful. Muslims a lot of them are radicals, a lot of them are extremists. They want to bring Sharia law. They want to establish Khilafah in the US. Of course, the average American is going to fear Islam, is going to hate Muslims, because that's the only knowledge he has of Islam. This is a story I mentioned even last week that I read once in the news. There was this guy one day, white guy. He goes to a masjid in Ohio in the US. He burns it. So the police, after they arrest him, the judge asks him, why did you burn this masjid? He says, because I was watching Fox News and I saw that show and I said, no way, not on my terms. They're going to invade America. And he says, I was drinking also. So he's intoxicated, can't think straight, and he's watching this propaganda. He's like, I Googled the closest masjid, I went and I burned it. Do you blame him? No. No, if I were to show you and brainwash you into thinking that a certain ethnicity or a certain group or religion wants to invade your country and destroy everything, you're going to do the same. So there is lots of propaganda against Muslims, unfortunately. Lots of propaganda. There is, a few years ago I heard that in Harvard University, the prominent Harvard There was an Islamic class. In the World Religions Department, there was an Islam class. Do you know who used to teach that class? A Jew, a Zionist Jew. He's teaching Islam because there is no Muslim professor to come and teach it. There is no one qualified. If we do have a few qualified, they couldn't for whatever reason. What do you think he's going to tell the people, his classmates? He's going to tell them Islam is the religion of peace. Islam is this. He's going to tell them the jewels of Ahlul Bayt. He's going to read them Nahj al-Balagha, Sahif al-Sajadiyah. No way. He's going to put the, as we say, يَدُسُّ السُّمَّ بِالْعَسَلِ. He will put the poison in the honey. He will make Islam the worst religion. But he'll do it in a smart way because he's a professor. He knows how to do it in a satanistic way. So it's our fault. When we don't send someone, we don't have someone qualified to teach it, the Jew's going to come and teach Islam. And this happens all the time, unfortunately. So, number one, there is ignorance. And number two, there is these extremists that are speaking on our behalf. And there are the enemies, the Zionists, who are spreading propaganda against Islam. And this is exactly what happened in Sham. During the time of Muawiyah, Bani Umayyah, Muawiyah and Yazid. Constant brainwashing of people against Ahlul Bayt. They brainwashed people into believing the Ahlul Bayt were enemies of Islam. Wallahi, the media can do magic. It could do magic, wonders. The media, it could do wonders. It could easily bring a madloom and make him into a zalim. It could bring a zalim, make him into a madloom. Just watch the TV, the way they present in the West, the news of Israel and Palestine. Khatiyya Israel, this poor country that wants to defend itself. And these terrorists, Hamas and Hizb, and Palestine, who are just killing them just because they are barbarians. And subhanallah, when you open some of the Arab channels, they do the same thing, like Al-Arabiya and Jazeera. They show you, for example, in Bahrain, these thugs who want to just bring chaos to the society. And that's why they are protesting against the government. Or in Syria, for example, the way they show you, it's a valid and it's a true thawra, revolution against what? Against dhulm. It's not all these Wahhabis that have come to kill the Shia and the Alawis. No. MashaAllah, they can take any issue and change it, flip it in any way that they want, and the people will believe it. The media is very powerful, my friend. It's powerful now, and it was powerful back then. So Bani Umayyah, they brainwashed people into thinking Imam Hussein was a Khariji. The hadith says that those individuals that came to kill Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura, yes, some of them came for money, because there was money promised. They came for dunya. But many of them, they didn't come for money. They came because they truly thought this was a Khariji, a kafir. كانوا يتقربون إلى الله بقتل الحسين. Can you believe that? They used to seek nearness of Allah through killing Hussein. Because they're brainwashed. They don't know what's going on in this dunya. It was the propaganda and the media of Bani Umayyah that did that. And that's why Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam in Sham, when he asked Yazid, I want to give that sermon. Do you know what he said? He said, من عرفني فقد عرفني ومن لم يعرفني أنبأته بحسبي ونسبي. That's strange. The Ahlul Bayt never boast about their lineage. It's immodest to say, I'm the son of Fulan, I'm the son of Fulan. But Imam Zain al-Abidin had to say, you know why? Because they didn't know who he was. They thought this is a Khariji, a Roman guy. A Roman guy. That's why on the way to Kufa or Sham, he saw an old man who was cheering against them, and he was booing Ahlul Bayt. And you guys deserve this, that you're prisoners of war. He told them, هل قرأت القرآن? He said, why are you asking about the Quran? What does the Quran have to do with you? It's like a Jewish guy asking you, have you read the Quran? Told them the Quran was revealed in our houses, in my grandfather's house. Who are you? They didn't know who Imam Zain al-Abidin was. This is how powerful the brainwashing of Bani Umayyah was. So he told them, whoever knows me, he knows me. But whoever doesn't know me, I have to tell you who I am. And it was most of them. They didn't know who he was. That's why he said, أنا ابن مكة ومنى أنا ابن الزمزم وصفا أنا ابن I am the son of Rasulullah. I am the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He's not boasting just about it. He's not showing off. No. He truly wants to tell them who he is. To expose Yazid. Because there was so much propaganda against Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And unfortunately, this is what has happened now. Now Imam Zainul Abidin, Sayyidah Zainab didn't stay quiet. they went and they exposed Yazid. And if it wasn't for them, even now, in this century, we didn't know what happened in Karbala. We would have read a story in history that a man with a few of his companions, they went in the desert and they fought and they were killed by the rightful Khalifa of his time. If it wasn't for Imam Zainul Abidin, Sayyidah Zainab exposing them, Imam Hussein would have been lost. His message would have been lost. And his entire revolution, nobody would even known about him. It was because Imam Zainul Abidin and Zainab, they exposed all of those hypocrites. So right now in this day, we suffer from the same problem. Yazid had hijacked Islam, spoke in the name of Islam. We see these Wahhabis, they've hijacked Islam. They speak in the name of Islam. There was propaganda, brainwashing. There's propaganda and brainwashing right now. Or else most people, they will believe if the words of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam reach them. And that's why I will conclude with just a few tips, what we can do. And I always mention this. Number one, we need more journalists. We need Muslim journalists so that they could what? Remember we said the media is important? So they could give the true side of the story. So that when they report a story or give an analysis, they give it the right way. Because the media is all propaganda now. It's all lies and nonsense. You can't trust anything anymore. So we need more journalists, especially in the West. I always say, when we grow up in this country and we raise our children, we want them to be what? Doctor, lawyer, engineer. Every father and mother, they tell their son, be either a doctor, lawyer, engineer. It's as if there's no other profession. What about a journalist? First of all, you probably won't make millions, yes. You'll make a decent living. And number two, your entire life will be jihad fi sabilillah. It will be for Allah Azza wa Jal. When you intend it for Allah, Allah will make you successful. Every day you go to the university to learn about journalism, you will receive thawab for it. You are doing jihad fi sabilillah. But we don't look at it this way. So we need journalists and we have to get involved in journalism. And I mentioned this story also, I think I mentioned it yesterday in Sydney, that there was this editor of a newspaper in the US. He told one of the Muslim leaders, he said, the reason why the Jews in America are so advanced and you Muslims are so behind is because of this. He says, anytime we write an article for you Muslims, for the Jews, anytime we write an article for the Jews, praising them, praising Israel, he says, the Jews, they send us thousands of letters, thank yous, they send us roses, they send us gifts, they begin to give us donations, they tell us that we will subscribe more. They encourage us so much. And when we speak against them, they discourage us. They bombard us with letters, threats. We'll take you to court. This is defamation. This is this. This is that. They threaten to boycott us, to unsubscribe. So now we fear the Jews. Don't mess with the Jews. No one wants to mess with them because they will take you down. He says, as for you Muslims, when we write an article against you, nobody cares. You don't even receive one letter from you guys. When we write an article for you, nobody cares. Nobody calls us to thank us. He says, if you don't care about yourselves, you want others to care about you. So this is number one. Very important thing that we can do. And number two, another thing that we can do is on a personal level, we can try to make our actions good, because our actions will reflect back on the religion. When I'm a Muslim, I hold a very, very heavy responsibility. If I do anything bad, people will say, Islam is a bad religion. That's why when a Muslim, you see in this day and age, he kills another person, they say, oh, this is Islam. Islam is a violent religion. It has nothing to do with Islam. He was a violent person. Why do you stick it to Islam? Even if he claims it, doesn't mean every person that claims something, doesn't mean it's true. So we have a responsibility. Our actions, they're always representing Islam. They're reflecting Islam. And as they say, actions speak louder than words. So one of the best ways to do da'wah and propagate and to spread awareness about Islam is through your actions. You don't even have to give a lecture. You don't have to give a speech. The Imam says, كونوا دعاة بغير ألسنتكم كونوا زينا علينا ولا تكونوا شينا. Give a good example. Let your actions be good actions. So when the people see Muslims, oh, they see Muslims are good people. They have the best akhlaq, the best manners. And this will reflect in such a beautiful, positive way for Islam. But unfortunately, what you find in most of the Western world, Muslims have the worst reputation. Muslims, everywhere I go, every country, they have the worst reputation. They are known for what? For fraud. Their areas, for tax fraud, for insurance fraud. They try to cheat the government. Many times I receive this question, Sayyidina, if I'm in the West here, Canada, Europe, is it okay that I could work on the side and get cash and at the same time I can get the welfare? And many Muslims, they do that. They try to cheat the government any way they can. I get some of the questions, mashallah, even the shaitan couldn't have thought of these ways of how they try to fool the government. They take welfare and they work, and you're hitting so many birds with one stone. First, you don't have to pay tax on the money because it's cash. It's not on paper. Number two, you could still claim what? Financial help and welfare because you're on paper. Basically, you're unemployed. You don't have to pay fines. You don't have to pay Yani subhanallah. They say we brought these Muslims to our countries. We gave them, asylum. We gave them peace, security. We gave them citizenship. They became rich, educated in our countries. And what do they do in return? They just try to rob us and steal us. And they're not stupid. They know. They know that Muslims, I know one place in America, the high concentration of Muslims. If you live in that area, you pay 10 times the insurance that other areas pay. It's a lousy old house. If your address is in this Muslim area, your car insurance is 5 times higher than other areas. Even rich areas, they pay less. Because this is a high-risk area. They're Muslims. They lie. They want to cheat. He'll go, and he'll set his house on fire, and then he'll tell the insurance company, give me money for it. Or he'll go and he'll make a deal with another person. He'll get into a small accident and then he'll not want me. They're not stupid. They know. Maybe once, twice, 3 times. You could fool them. But you can't fool them every single day. So our actions, they carry heavy weight. Just having good akhlaq, subhanallah, it may leave the best impact. Let me share a story. There's a famous story that you may find. You'll read in the books. About 50, 60 years ago in France, there was this Turkish Muslim man by the name of Ibrahim. He had a store. Now, in the neighborhood, there was a Jewish family. This is in France. So there was a young boy, a Jewish boy. He used to come to this man's store. It was a supermarket, Ibrahim the Turkish. He used to come and shop. His mother would send him to buy something. But every day, when Ibrahim wasn't looking, he would snatch a piece of candy, and he would leave. He did that for such a long time. Until one day, he came, he did his shopping, but that day he forgot to steal. So as he was leaving the door, Ibrahim, the owner, he told him, young boy, you forgot to take your candy, as you do every day. This young Jewish boy, he felt so ashamed. He was so afraid that all this time I thought he didn't know. Not only does he know, he's mocking me now. Yalla, steal and go. So he began to tell him, please, don't tell anyone, please, please. He began to beg him so he doesn't create a problem. He told him, you know what? Make me a promise. Don't steal from anyone. Don't steal from anyone. And every day, come take whatever you want from my store for the rest of your life. If you promise that you will never steal from anyone else, you can take from whatever you want from my store. So this young man, he began to love Ibrahim, the owner. He saw him like his father. He would come every day, sit with him, seek guidance. And he was a wise man, Ibrahim. He would tell him so many beautiful words of advice. And he grew, and his godfather, his source of wisdom, became this man. This Turkish man, Muslim man, while he was a Jew. Until he grew, he turned in his 20s, this young man. Ibrahim, this older man, anytime he would come and he would ask him a question, he would see that this man opens a book, he reads it, and then he would give him guidance. He doesn't know what this book is. He never asked. Until he dies one day, Ibrahim, the Muslim. He leaves in his will, he tells his sons that I want you to give that book to that Jewish boy, to that Jewish young man, as a gift from me. So he wrote that in his wasiyyah. So after he dies, The sons come to him and they told him, this is a book for you. He says, what is this? We don't know. Our father wrote it for you. So he went, he took it, he put it, he never even checked it out, what it was, doesn't know what it is. And he was very, very sad that this man, Ibrahim, died because he had helped him so much throughout his life. So one day, all of a sudden he's curious, what is that book? He goes, he opens it, he sees it's in Arabic. He can't read Arabic. So he has a Tunisian friend who lives in France. He called him, he's like, I want you to see this book. What is this book? The Tunisian guy opens it, he says, oh, this is the Quran. This is the Holy Quran, the book of Muslims, the divine book of Islam. He says, oh really, all that time, this man, Ibrahim, he would look in the Quran, he would read a little, maybe he would do istikhara, I don't know. And then he would give me that guidance. He says, subhanallah, what a great book is this. So he began to read the Quran. He bought a French copy of the Quran, the translation. He began to read. The more he read, the more he fell in love with the Quran and with Islam, until he declared, he called that Tunisian guy, he asked him, how do I become Muslim? He said, all you have to do is say these two words, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He became Muslim so beautifully. Now, you see, throughout those years, maybe 15, 20 years, Ibrahim the Muslim, he befriended the Jew. Not even once did he tell him, become Muslim. Not even once did he tell him about Islam. But however, because of his actions, because of his akhlaq, and how he forgave him, and how he taught him, and then how he gave him the book, he indirectly taught him the most beautiful lesson. And in the end, he made him a Muslim. So this story teaches us that don't always what? You don't always have to preach to people. Maybe I don't even know how to preach, but your actions, they speak louder than your words. Do you see how beautifully he taught him? Indirectly, never told him for years that become Muslim. He left him the book, he read the book, and he was very influenced by it. And then the story says that once he came across this verse, Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'izati al hasana, he saw that Ibrahim had underlined it. That's what they claim, the story. He had underlined this part, that invite and propagate to the path of Allah by using what? By using wisdom and kind words with people. He says it clicked to him, you know what? Maybe I should start doing da'wah. He educated himself about Islam, and he began to become a preacher of Islam. And they say that so many people, they became Muslim on his hands. And he was a Jew, a young Jewish boy, subhanallah. He was just an average man that had a supermarket. But do you see the impact that he left? All because of his akhlaq, all because of his actions. Actions speak louder than words. And then I read that in France, a few years ago, they made the story into a movie, and I even saw parts of it. They made the story into a beautiful movie, the Uncle Ibrahim, that's what it's called. Uncle Ibrahim in the French language, and the story of this Turkish man and how he helped this Jewish boy, and then he became Muslim, and then he began to invite people to Islam, and he became an educator and a propagator and an ambassador for Islam. So our actions, my friends, are very important. We have to think twice before we do anything, because all that we do, everything that we do will reflect back on Islam. These are some few things that we can do to help the cause of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah gave us so much ni'am, so much benefactions. He will ask us on the Day of Judgment, what did you do back? Did you do anything to compensate, to say thanks? اعملوا آل داود شكرا. Allah says that it's not enough just to say thank you. You have to show it through your actions. اعملوا شكرا. Show it. And one way to thank Allah through my actions is to at least leave a good impression, an image to non-Muslims. In the same way that we said Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, Imam Zainul Abidin, Sayyidah Zainab, they didn't stay quiet. They defended Islam. They fought for Islam. They didn't stay passive because they knew their religion was hijacked, because they knew that people were brainwashed, and the new Islam of Bani Umayyah was a corrupt Islam. But yet Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, throughout the hardships, they never gave up. They never quit. Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, after Ashura, they went through so many hardships. They took Sayyidah Zainab, Imam Zain al-Abidin, the women, the orphans, to Kufa on a long journey, and then on a longer journey to Sham. And they were humiliated, treated like slaves. They were left to sleep in the rubbles. But they never stopped. They took them after Sham. They took Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam to Karbala. I'm sure you heard 2 nights ago was the night of Arba'een. Yesterday, the day of Arba'een. You heard the musibah of Al-Arba'een. I want to tell you what happened after that. After Zainab, Imam Zain al-Abidin, they went to Karbala on the 40 days after Imam Hussein was killed, and they met with Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, and they visited the grave of Imam Hussein for the first time. After they finished that ziyarah, they headed back to Medina. But Medina was a different Medina now, because the last time they were in Medina, Imam Hussein was with them, Al-Abbas was with them, Ali al-Akbar was with them. But now they came back without Hussein. They came back without Al-Abbas, without any of the men. Medina was so depressing now, without the men of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. As they arrived to Medina, a man by the name of Bishr ibn Hadlam, he came out to Imam Zain al-Abidin to greet him, to greet Imam Zain al-Abidin and all the caravan that was with him. He told him, is there anything I can do? Is there any way I can serve you, Ya ibn Rasulullah? He said, yes, we are entering Medina. I want you to go ahead of us, and I want you to declare everyone what happened to Karbala. Tell the people of Medina, because most of them had no clue. They didn't know what happened. Tell them what happened to Hussein. Tell them what Bani Umayyah did to my father, Imam Hussein, and his companions. Bishr ibn Hadlam, he went to Medina. He began to call everyone to gather in the courtyard. He has a very important announcement. Everyone is there. What is he going to say? And then he begins to read these poems. He says, Ya ahla Yathrib la muqama lakum biha قتل الحسين فأدمعي مدرار. He tells them, oh, people of Medina, I bring you the sad news of Hussein. Hussein was killed in Karbala by Bani Umayyah. The women, they began to cry. The men began to ask, why? What did Hussein do that he deserved to be killed? He's the grandson of Rasulullah. In the middle of all that commotion and crying, al-Baneen alayha salam, the mother of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, she was in Medina. She heard some chaos, people crying. She didn't know what was going on. She came out to Bishr ibn Hadlam. She saw he's saying something. So she asked him, what happened? What happened? What are you talking about? He asked, who is they said al-Baneen. 4 of her sons were killed with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He told her, Ya al-Baneen, عظم الله لك الأجر. May Allah console you and give you ajr, because 3 of your sons, Abdullah, Ja'far and Uthman, they were killed on the day of Ashura in Karbala. She said, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. But tell me about Hussein. What happened to Hussein? All she cared about was Hussein alayhi salam. He told her, Ya al-Baneen, عظم الله لك الأجر بولدك العباس. May Allah console you for your son Abbas, because his hands were severed in Karbala. When she heard the word Abbas and his hands were severed, she said, لقد قطعتني قلبي. You truly have broken my heart. I wish you would have never told me what happened to my son Abbas. But even Abbas doesn't matter, because all she cared about was Hussein. She told him, أخبرني عن ولدي الحسين. What happened to Hussein? He continued his poem where he said, يا أهل يثرب لا مقام لكم بها. قتل الحسين فاتبعي مدرار. If you ask me about Hussein, الجسم منه بكربلاء مضرج. As for his body, it lay for 3 days without a head on the sands of Karbala. الجسم منه بكربلاء مضرج والرأس منه على القنايات يدار. And if you ask me about the head of Abu Abdullah, they decapitated his head, they lifted on his spears, and for 40 days it was moved from city to city. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله 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 يا الله. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم اقضي حوائجنا، يسر أمورنا، اشفي مرضانا. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. والأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات نهدي ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلوات.